Just remind you of today's topics, which is study media studies and storytelling in Germany. Here are our guests. We will have 2 presentations for sure, as I already mentioned, and I will also try to organize or have the third presentation visible as well today. If not, I will be presenting the program really briefly for you. Organizer of the session is My German University, Germany's largest study program database. I hope all of you have already used it. This is one of the ways how you know probably today's presenting programs, or you want to get to know them in more detail. You can use lots of filters from the study finder, adjust them, sort programs according to your desired conditions, let's say like this, and then the research results will be there for you. We also have very comprehensive articles, also translated to different languages. These articles are about all the different topics, starting from studying in Germany in general, with country-specific scholarship options, and so on. We think these articles are useful, and if you want to see a quick information, feel free to check them. Once you have more detailed questions for programs or for general information about studying in Germany, feel free to join our webinars. Thank you that you are joining one today. These subject webinars are kind of special because you can already connect with your future program from the webinar, get to know all the details about application content, which is also available on program pages. But this interaction is also nice to have, and maybe you want this quick answer to your question, and here are the guests. Thank you for your time once again, and they will be taking them also live. For general questions, feel free to join our general webinars about scholarship, UniAssist, visa, opportunity card, blocked account, and others. We are also adding webinars in German language in case some of you also are have skills in German language and also want to attend webinar in German. There will be some options for you as well. This is our team. We are based in Hamburg, Germany. We are counseling in different languages, but please do not take counseling as kind of one-to-one counseling or doing application instead of you, because we think that we provide enough information in terms of the content and also application procedure on the page, and then you are already equipped to start your application yourself and hopefully start your semester also in Germany. Now, I already showed you our study finder, but I want to show you a bit more details because the first one was kind of a demo version. And here you can adjust lots of subjects. So I did media studies and storytelling, and you can select criteria about language and so on. And then you can see that there are 94 degrees. But and now I list bachelor and master, but there are also diplomas available, which also have some German component, but they are not listed here. However, you can find them in Study Finder. And then you can always sort programs according to, let's say, application deadline, for which program the deadline is approaching, how to apply, what to expect. All of that will be visible in the profile. And most importantly, you always have the course page to check everything also on the course page there. If you just don't know, does it make sense to study media studies in Germany? What are the rankings? What are the universities? We also have subject pages, and I believe they are quite useful because you have all this information, again, with filtered programs there on one page, and you can know approximate tuition fees, application admission requirements, information about ranking, description of subject, and so on. And yeah, I think it's a nice way to get all of this information in one place. Very, very important, and very important pro tip from our side is that please check each program separately, carefully, and don't be guided only by fees, rankings, names, because all programs are very different, unique, interesting, and this is one of the reasons we also have the subject webinars, to show you that all programs are very different. Do not assume that all programs have the deadlines on July 15th only. Do not assume that all programs need UniAssist application, because today you will hear that actually I think none of the program is using UniAssist, or I don't know, bring me to a mistake, I will not mention it, but yeah, it will be also mentioned during the presentation. So do not assume, check programs, and all the information is also on their pages as well. Briefly about universities in Germany, there are universities and universities of applied sciences. We also have an article in this regard if you want to know about all the historic differences and very detailed information. What I want to mention today is that usually programs offered by universities are more research and theory-oriented. Universities of applied sciences usually have more application practice-oriented programs, but just going back to my previous slide, all programs are very different, and there could be exceptions on both sides. I had one of the exceptions in electrical engineering program this Tuesday. So please, once again, check the program content. One last slide before I give the mic to our first speaker is that I frequently have questions. Do I qualify if I have this and that degree, CGPA, and all of that? For all programs, you have qualification requirements, which allows you to do kind of a pre-check. So you know what kind of previous degree you have, and if it's listed here, then you qualify, you can apply. The next requirement is about the GPA. You need to convert your GPA to German GPA. I will share the link in case you want to know about this calculator as well, and about the language requirements. So all of that is possible to kind of already have an idea. Do you qualify? Should you start application process or not? But of course, there could be again exceptions. Therefore, feel free to contact program representatives directly and clarify your cases with them. All right, then, as promised, the most interesting part will start right now, because I would like to give the mic to Jimena Aguilar, who will be presenting Master Digital Narrative Study Program.
For joining us today. I will be introducing you to the MA Digital Narratives program, which right now is open for applications. As Nino mentioned, the program is based at the Internationale Filmschule Köln. We work in a cooperation agreement with the TH Köln, the Technical University of Cologne. So the degree is signed by the two schools. The program is a 4-semester Master of Arts. We accept around 12 students each semester, each cohort, and we start every 2 years. So the start of the next cohort will be September of 2026. And we're a full-time master's program, but we do have some blended learning, in the sense that we prioritize in-person learning, but we have some online components. You can see our study fees here. There's study fees from the IFS and some from the TH Köln, depending if you're an international student or an EU student. Our program is focused on how to tell stories using new technologies. So the rise of immersive media, interactive media that go from VR, AR, have changed the ways stories are being told, no longer only from a linear narrative, but using different elements that shape the stories being told. And we think that this is very important in how societies are also being shaped in today's world. So what we're focusing is on working with emerging technologies, as I mentioned, extended reality, which includes AR, VR, but we're also now experimenting and working with artificial intelligence or interactive media that range from interactive websites or games as well that our students are producing. One of our focus is also to work with agile production methods and structures. This means that we work with iterative methods. Our students start doing prototypes or drafts, if you want, of their projects, and then they build on them in a way where they learn from what they did and adapt the project. It's not that they're already with a story that's built, but they are changing it as they are producing it as well. We also work with a research creation approach. This means that our program is not only focused on the practical aspects of storytelling with new media, but also in the research of it. I'm gonna go to the next slide. Our central elements involve the study of digital culture, so a critical analysis and research of media and its ecosystems and how this is affecting digital societies and the responsibilities also as storytellers, as producers, as technicians using these new technologies. We're also doing research and development of immersive narratives. So thinking about how storytelling methodologies or dramaturgies are changed by the formats that you use when telling a story, and as well how the relationship with the audiences have changed due to this. As well, we're training in creative and agile methods, as I mentioned, and throughout the program, students have the chance to conceptualize, design and produce a digital narrative project. I will go a bit deeper into that later on. Based on these topics that I mentioned, is the core of our modules. So the semesters are divided in the first 3 semesters in 4 areas, more or less. Digitality and change is our media theory area where students are working more with academic texts, writing, both reading and writing and researching. Then the modules narratives that are in for semester 1 and 2 is more about the dramaturgy, the storytelling aspects of the program. Then methods involve both academic and practical methods for storytelling. And these 2 modules converge in the 3rd semester and as one single one. And as I mentioned, throughout the whole program, students are developing their master's project. So from the 1st semester, they start with ideation, brainstorming about possible projects that they can develop. Then in the 2nd semester, they start developing early prototypes, first tests, and in the 3rd semester, they produce. Right now, our students just on Tuesday presented the results of the 3rd semester with a 3rd prototype at this point for their project, which is the kind of what they will help them go into the master's project in the 4th semester. The 4th semester is focused on the MA thesis and the MA project. Students have the possibility of choosing the percentage of their grade that goes into the master's thesis or master project. I think I have a slide further down about this specifically. And to tell you a little bit about what we do throughout the program, in semester 1 and 2, we have semester projects. So students learn about the methods that we use, the concepts that we use, and then put them into practice with what we call production exercises. We try to do this with cooperation of partners. The last one we did was in cooperation with the Movie Dance Film Festival here in Cologne, where students were using AI to think about how can it be used to create projects that are talking about movement and patterns that are coming from movement. And some students developed a project which is the one that's on screen, which they were motion tracking the movement of dancers and then translating this into music. And some other students did projects that were more using VR, depending on the project. Right now I'm I'm blanking on the other three projects that were built, but this is what we're doing each semester. In the first 2 semesters, with the previous cohort, we work on a project with theater. So we did a partnership with the 𝘱𝘢𝘕𝑉𝑒𝑟𝑘𝑠tadt in Cologne, and students developed prototypes based on a theater play that they were playing at the moment that was on the topic of gender and gender inequality. So students developed VR projects based on this theater play. And in 2022, 2023, we worked with the Museum für Naturkunde Berlin, the Museum for Natural History of Berlin, and their data sets on bugs and on some illustrations done by a researcher in the late 19th century. Each cohort also does a field trip. We've done different trips to different conferences, but in the last 2 cohorts, we've been focusing on one specifically that's called the SIPSIN conference in Prague, which is combined together with an art festival that's focused on VR experiences. I'm gonna show you a very quick video, but sorry, I'm gonna lower the music. I don't know if you're hearing it at all. So the students get to go to this event, but not only as participants, but also as presenters. We have a close relationship with the organizers of this festival, and the cohort that's currently in the program presented their projects from the research creation perspective by doing a poster presentation where they showcase the research that is accompanying their projects, and also the concepts of their projects, and also get to experience a lot of immersive, interactive, and virtual reality projects at the same time. The project that they do goes on throughout the masters, but something that I would like to highlight right now is that they can decide whether they focus 80% of their grade on the master's thesis or on the master project. And this is important for what the future perspective of the students are. We've had some students that decide to go on and do a PhD, for example. So selection of 80% thesis in this case would fit someone that's thinking of going into academia, while others know that they will probably but will probably focus on practical work, on being creators, on being artists, or being producers. So for them, the 80% project work fits best. The university also allocates financial support of 4,000 euros per project for each student. Some students have decided to join in and do one project so that they can also expand the budget of one project. And depending on whether the student is able to get external financing, then they can also apply for that. But the experience has been mostly that they use the result of the master to apply for further funding afterwards. Currently, some of the projects that are right now being produced by the students are an immersive theater play by our student Haydar Tastan from Turkey, a VR experience by Amna Tariq from Pakistan, and an interactive web narrative from Denisa Kyol from Turkey. So as you see, there's also a lot of diversity in both the students that are coming from a lot of different backgrounds. Our cohorts are very international, and also on the formats that they're using, the technologies that they're using for their projects. What our students are doing after the program is also quite diverse because the field is very much open. So some are being creative directors or creative producers of their own projects or of someone else's projects. They can be narrative or content designers, UX designers. Some are media researcher or doctoral candidates, as I mentioned. A lot of them are also coming from documentary or a journalism background, so they're afterwards still working in this ecosystem, but specializing in expanding nonfiction narratives to digital narrative formats. The application process is you have to send certain documents like your bachelor's degree, proof of program-related aptitude. We accept applications from a lot of different backgrounds in the terms of professional experience or the university degree that you have, because the field is so open to different perspectives that we don't limit what you have studied before. We've had people from architecture, from journalism, from film, some coming from more organizational NGO communication strategies. So it depends a lot on what your aim is, but we do expect some professional experience because that really supports the progress of the student. So, of course, the program is in English, so English language qualifications is required. And international students, to obtain resident permits, have to provide funds to secure their livelihood. Our application deadline is on the 20th of January 2026, where applicants have to send the required documents, which include also certain assignments like a letter of motivation, 3 work samples, a proposal of research topics that you would like to research during the program, the selection of case studies of digital narrative projects that you think are prominent in the field, and a short essay. If you apply and you go to the next round, then the interviews are held on the 26th and 27th of February, and we expect acceptance letters to be sent early March of 2026, so quite early, because we do have the experience that visa applications have to start quite early, so we try to push the deadline early in the year so that we can start in September of 2026. Yeah, if you have more questions, then feel free to get in touch with me. There's a QR code with the link to our website. You can check it out. Also, if you want to join us in another more detailed info session, we have an info session coming up on the 8th of December. I'll send the information also to Nino so that you can link it, but I think it's already linked on my German university, if I remember correctly. And yeah, that's it from my side.
Let's hear more details about another exciting program from Merz Akademie, which will be presented by Professor Dr. David Kigley, and it is a Master Research in Design, Art, and Media.
A lot of the things you said actually apply to our school a little bit, and it was interesting to watch someone else present beforehand. It was like I was being self-critical of what I had to say and what I was forgetting. But anyway, yeah, so I'm from the Merz Akademie, which is a school in Stuttgart, which is in the middle of Europe, about 2 hours away from Switzerland, 2.5 hours from Paris, 6 hours from Vienna, 6 hours from Berlin. As you see, or I like to use this picture to think about the school or to describe it. It's a relatively close-knit community. We have people from all over the place studying here, and I feel like Stuttgart and also probably Cologne in its own way too are good places to be because they're very relatively small, and so you can actually develop a kind of community And in any case, that's one of the key concerns for our school, is having a community where the students feel at home. We have students from all over the place. And in addition to studying, one of the big challenges that they're faced with is feeling at home. Yeah, challenges with funding, with finding apartments and things like that. And I feel like our school is good at coming to terms with that and helping out the students. So research and design, art and media, designing the future. We redid the program about 3 years ago. We changed a lot of the content, and we also changed it to English. The school itself was first founded actually in 1919, so the Merz Academy is quite old. But the current iteration of it, meaning as a acknowledged university, is from the early 1980s, I think around 35 years. But the master's program is about 13 years old, and the new iteration roughly 3 years old. So we call it Designing the Future. So I think there was a time when you would talk about the future with this kind of hope and this kind of futuristic, positive, like we're moving out into the future, or take control of the future, which of course we try to maintain some kind of positive attitude, but we feel that the future is something that, and the present especially, is marked by a crisis. So in spite of this kind of futuristic, this kind of positive feeling, Designing the Future title, it's very much based on an awareness of the many crises that we are going through in a lot of areas. So we try to use art, media, and design as tools for research. So we say research a lot. Research is very important for us. And this also means, writing and reading and, what you typically associate with research. But we also stress that we try to use our tools as artists and designers to do the research. We welcome graduates from a lot of different backgrounds. I think in addition to our school trying to work with people from different parts of the world, we also want people to apply who are coming from different backgrounds intellectually and in their education. So people from the university, but also people from art schools or film schools or design schools. We have a 4-semester and a 3-semester program that depends on how many credits you have in your bachelor program. This is a little bit complicated, and it's something that you'd have to deal with when you're applying, whether you would do the 4 or 3-semester program. And we have applications in winter and in summer. I don't have the dates right now, but you can look on the website. So similar to the program in Cologne, the project is the main part of the program, and it goes throughout the whole process of the period of the program. So you begin with your project right at the very beginning and develop it throughout the 1.5 or 2 years. Theory is very important for us. I personally, for example, come from a humanities background, and there are other professors who are from a humanities background. But of course, it is an art school, so the main emphasis is art, but we do really put a strong emphasis on theoretical work. And finally, collaboration is also very important for us. We really want you to learn to work with each other and learn to learn from each other. And that is reflected in the structure of the program. So yeah, as I said, the individual project is the most important thing. We try to combine research and different interdisciplinary skills. So we have people coming from really, really different, design background, art background, and then different media, video, VR, lots of different, they're really, it's actually a little bit crazy sometimes how different some of the people are, but we find that productive, and that's kind of the challenge that you're faced with as a student and that we're faced with as professors, is to to deal with all these different backgrounds, and we feel like that reflects the current situation where it's really hard to say that one specific type of education and one specific media or whatever is the way it's, it feels like we're in a point where you have to train people to be flexible to deal with these different questions. Rather than to say, be a specialist in this one specific area. Okay. Of course, this kind of interdisciplinary work has its disadvantages too, but yeah, that's our strategy. Yeah, I have this very unsexy description of the program, which I would just dive into. Unfortunately, if you ask me, like someone, an academic, to do a PowerPoint presentation, this is what you end up with, maybe. But I'll try to zoom in and just explain a little bit about how it works. Although I'm somehow, let me see if I'm able to do this. Yeah, that worked, right? You can see the Zoom version. Okay, thank you. So yeah, the project development is the main part throughout, each semester. And then we have 3 week-long workshops that you go to, where you're exposed to, we try to expose you to different things, things that you're not, so different media, like maybe if you're working in VR, we'd encourage you to do a photography workshop or the other way around. And then we have theory and writing classes each semester. So the first one is more creative writing and the media theory class. And then the same then in the second semester. Another important thing is you're supposed to organize a workshop. So in the second and third semester, and invite people to come and talk. And yeah, in general, basically, we're hoping to both support your individual project, but also expose you to a whole bunch of different inputs and ideas. Okay. So yeah, the master program, we try to explore a lot of these issues, like as I hinted at. These are kind of buzzwords in a way. I understand that, but and it's hard to deal with them in a way that's not, a buzzword. Like dealing with a buzzword like sustainability. We're all familiar with greenwashing, and we're familiar with writing grants, and you try to make everything look sustainable. And but what does that really mean? The same thing with artificial intelligence. When people tell me they know what to do with artificial intelligence, they know how it's going to develop, I think to myself, how can you possibly know what's going on right now? And it feels, I have to be honest, with artificial intelligence, it feels very difficult to teach a path because we're not experts in it, but we're sort of all confronted with the same problems. Yeah, the growth of authoritarianism is also important for us, and it's reflected in the students who are studying with us. Many of them are escaping, to be honest, authoritarian countries. And we definitely talk about this specifically. We're very interested in political aspects of our practice, so including escaping war, escaping authoritarian countries. The country that I come from seems to be, the United States seems to be becoming more authoritarian also, although it's still, quite a bit less authoritarian than perhaps others. But also post-colonial conflicts, representation, diversity, inclusion, all of these things, could be, they sound like buzzwords or catchphrases, as I said, but they are very important to our work and to our research. So our school is a private school. It's half private and half public, actually. The tuition is $569 per month, which by German standards is quite a lot. You should be aware of that. We also have a program to pay later, and it's a relatively humane form of a loan. If you want to know more about that, unfortunately, you have to ask someone else. I'm not in charge of that. And as I said, it's a nonprofit. So it's not like I mean, it's a private school, but it's not like people are making money. I mean, aside from the people working here, our goal is not to make money from the school. And it's funded 50% by the German state. Yeah, I mean, that was just a very quick presentation.
First of all, Professor King, thank you very much for your presentation and all the details. The application deadlines I also posted in chat. They are, oh, okay. They are as follows: 2nd of March and 5th of December. And I was about to start presentation instead of Professor Struck, but he's here. Thank you very much for making it to the webinar. Yes, then I will introduce you officially. The last program for today is Expanded Media from Darmstadt University of Applied Sciences.
Thank you very much. You've got us. We're not done with I can take you immediately into our program. Here's our students currently working on their projects. I hope this works audio-wise. Yeah? Okay. All right, so let me take you through our program in the PowerPoint rather than real life. So yes, the program's called Expanded Media, and I will quickly show you a little film that does a much better job of explaining what it is about than I could possibly do in about 3 minutes.
We are expanding media for the people.
We are making room for everyone to come together.
We're using media for experiences that connect us socially.
In the digital media landscape, information and entertainment have become a dime a dozen. So now audiences are looking for something more. They want to step inside the story worlds and enjoy them with their friends as a social experience. And that's where technologies like VR and games and social media come into play. They offer opportunities for immersion, interaction, participation. And we believe that understanding these is key for the future.
Not only is expanded media intersecting old and new media, it's also a form of leading the audience from a passive role to a full-blown active participant role. For me, creating interactive stories is the key to telling brand new stories and the future of the whole medium.
The fun thing about studying the expanded media program is you can make your projects whatever you want, from smart and compelling stories to campy and cookie comedy projects. It's basically up to you.
Working on different projects in international teams.
You are muted.
I'm going to stop it now. It starts to get a little cringy because it's going into a very advertising style presentation of our program. But the most important part is that our program is dealing with media that go beyond information and entertainment, because we believe that this is becoming more and more something that, if at least you're working from Germany, is being catered to by big platforms like Netflix and big international news outlets, but it's less and less something that people that work in Germany find value creation and jobs from. So now let me return to my presentation and we can go a little bit more into detail at how we've set our program up to do this. So first off, we are dealing with concepts for immersive, interactive, and participatory experiences, which is the alternative that is currently on the horizon and where value is actually created. So think of it a little bit like the music industry. You have people working on the songs through Spotify. I can tell you have friends working that is something you will not make money so much anymore, but you will make money with your concerts, your tours, your festival experiences. And this is really what we're about, to design and help people get into this space. We are a program, by the way, that is, everybody here, this is not too loud, is speaking English. So we have 80% international students, so you're very welcome if you're from a non-German country. And one other thing to highlight is we train people to go into above the line positions. So when it says here concepts, we're a master program that is geared towards people that already know how to produce things. So like film directors, we have people who have been working on VR experiences or games or campaigns. But we're more about trying to get into a creative directorial role where you then work on concept and script, things more like the brain part of it. And the horizon, of course, that we're going to ultimately, so many people expect this, is when they hear expanded movies, they think of VR, AR. Yes, this is the horizon that we're working towards. And we have a lot of we do an event where we will take people through experiences in VR and in AR, but we are looking at we're trying to look at something a little broader than just saying we're teaching AR and VR. We're looking at an emerging medium that we don't quite know how it'll turn out. As you probably know, that AR and VR has not yet delivered. The promises that were big in the 2017s, 18s have not come through, but we think that it is on the horizon. At some point, people will want to have more screen real estate than just their little phones, to be immersed, to interact with other people, to participate. And thus, we're looking at all of what is currently out there and being developed in these different, as you see, genres that might be relevant to this emerging media format. I think I've already covered this, so this is kind of what the job description is going to be. As I said, above the line, one term that is quite useful is experience designer. This is an emerging description of those agencies that deal more with location-based experiences, such as museums, such as trade shows, also to give some more brand-oriented commercial experiences, but also media installations, the like. Yes, one thing to cover maybe is the teaching method. As you see here, there's lots of people sitting at tables together, so we always teach in groups that working on something applied. We don't have very little lectures, very little tests where you do multiple choice or whatever, or literature reading. We're always working on something in teams together to have a result. And these are some examples. So we then work for an experience for a museum. We cooperated with people who organize festivals, with people like actual theaters in Darmstadt. We've cooperated with a magazine, with a television series, to produce something. I think I'm going to leave that one out and go into the specifics of the program. So just to give you an overview of the structure of our program, these big balls here, these are 15 ECTS, which are our projects. So this is where you see that in what you'll actually have to do. We put great value on these projects, and they're what we will spend roughly 50% of your time here working on these two big semester projects. While you're doing so, you will have to take 2 mandatory courses, which are called Experience in Media and Media Science. And then you can choose from a plethora of different options, your electives, and that will all lead to your master project so that you're done. There's actually, for most international students, a 4-semester project where you will have to do an internship in your 3rd semester before you can do your master project, or you can do it after the master project, the internship, depending on what is more useful to you. Some other facts, we have these deadlines. So the coming deadline is 1st of December, maybe well, it's a little close, maybe 3 days left to make it to the summer semester, but then there's more time to make it to the winter semester. Some requirements that are important. What is very important, I want to point that out, is we really need people to speak English well. So I have seen also when people have tried to wiggle their way into the program thinking, yeah, it's probably not that important. It is very, very important to speak English well in our program. So if you don't, or you're unsure, it's better maybe to take some time and to improve your English before you come here. This is how we want this to have some kind of safeguard that you will have the necessary language skills, but it is really something to ask yourself as well. And we have quite an involved entrance examination because we want people to have a certain quality. And this involves a portfolio, but also a practical expose. An expose or for a media practical research project in your chosen focus area. which is where we have tasks on our website that we're asking people to do a little concept for a chosen task, which changes every semester. So watch out for that. And this is one such example, or I could have shown this before. So this is the current task: design a location-based experience, inviting audiences into your favorite cult movie. This is actually what these students are doing here now too. They're designing this opportunity for people to enter the world of one of their favorite movies. Yeah, and that's, I guess, it. Eligibility is a question that we have a lot. We have these 3 different focus areas, and all of them have different eligibility criteria. So roughly we have a place for people who know how to do film and directing, which is our story worlds focus. Then we have a place for people who know how to do 3D design or game engines, which is our expanded realities focus. And then we have a place for people who know audio, sound recording, music composition, which is our expanded sound and music focus, and all of them together and come together to cooperate on programs. And we need each and every one of them. We have a caveat, which is we allow people to apply even if they are not don't have a media background, a media degree. But then you will have to prove that you are capable of doing the work required here through a very good portfolio. And again, this would be the slide that I should have said this over. So yeah, so you can apply if you have a very good portfolio, if you're not from a media background, but then it will have to be exceptionally good. Right. And I think that's it. The rest is just some examples, but I think that's what we wanted to cover.
Joining right from the lecture time. So yeah, I did not also expect, but thank you very much for making it. Now, let's start with the questions. The very first question was from Jill, and it was answered by Jimena. But I also promised Jill to voice this question, and maybe Professor Quigley and Professor Strupp could also comment on that. In your opinion, should I pursue this program? I am an experienced storyteller in the USA, teaching improvisation for team building, self-growth, and education. Also a professional song creator telling stories through song, and an actor. My German citizenship through ancestry is in process, but maybe not finalized until 2027. Would you recommend your programs to Jill? Even
Yes,
Jimena, if you
absolutely.
also want to elaborate on that later on, feel free to unmute yourself.
Well, I'd absolutely, because I mean, theater work is very important for what we do right now. Our second semester project is an immersive theater event. And having knowledge in improvisation, we also, for example, have an improv night here every Wednesday where I've built this because I think that improv skills are so important. I also have training in theater education and improv, and I think it is extremely relevant to what we're trying to do here, which is really, I mean, ultimately, of course, I think we all dream of the holodeck, but the holodeck is nothing but getting people to act in a stage situation with you and improvise with them, partly assisted through technology. So we're currently working a lot with like AI NPCs, but I think ultimately it will be about people interacting with people. So sounds very relevant. Also, the kind of work you do in a more applied focus with companies. So also what a lot of students then go on to do. So for example, one student from Canada, one alumni who also had a theater background, is now doing exactly this, facilitating workshops at, first she was at Merck, and now she's at Siemens Healthineers, where she also did an internship. So she's doing exactly this. She's doing workshops based on her expertise in theater.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Professor Quigley, would you advise then, Jill?
Yeah, I mean, I think I could definitely see that. I mean, I imagine, as far as I understand, it would apply to all of the programs in some certain way. We also, of course, work with theater, but there's also some work with film in our program. So yeah, I would definitely advise them to apply to our school.
Mhm. I guess the same for 𝘱𝘢𝘪, as she also wrote that applications are open from different professional backgrounds, and you're also welcome to apply to all 3 programs if you wish. And let's see. The next question is for Merz Academy. Professor Quigley, I know you are from like more content academic like information for the program, but in case you know, what does it mean direct entry and the preliminary semester pathway? How are applications different? Any additional documents needed? Does it mean submitting 2 applications?
I don't know what direct entry means. I don't know what that refers to. The preliminary semester is actually, we have this option to do the program in 3 semesters, and that depends on how many ECTS credits you have in your bachelor. So if you do have a certain number, 210, then you can take the 3-semester program. If not, you have to do the so-called preliminary semester. So you have to do 4 semesters. That's what that means.
Okay. For the documents and all of that, please check the program page, and everything is also listed there. The question is for Professor Struck. Do we have to do an expose for the applications for expanded media? Asking Professor Dr. Joe. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, it's as I showed you, we have a task for this, and it is yeah, it's a prerequisite. So that's already the answer that you wanted. It's if many people ask about the form, so what we're looking for is people who have a command of designing for a certain target audience with a certain goal in mind, and then visualizing or illustrating that or making it come alive in a way that allows for us to see whether they can pinpoint this experience to the key moments. So that's really what we're looking for. If you have any questions, there's I think an email address that you're going to be sharing, as well. So any questions about the admission procedure, we'll be happy to answer.
Thank you. There was a question about application. So digital narratives and Merz Academy have direct application. Do you have any application fees? I see 𝘱𝘢𝘪 your answer in terms of tuition fees, but to apply, do you also request something?
No, we don't have an application fee. I know that our process is going to change a little bit this time, because before you used to send the application to a direct email to us, but now the application is going to go through the TH Köln, the Technical University of Cologne. They're going to open up a portal where students, applicants will be able to send their documents. I think we're going to have the link ready at the beginning of January. But as of now, you can find all the tasks, all the documents that you will be required to upload on our website. There's a PDF you can download and have as a checklist, so that you have everything ready for January.
Professor Quigley, is there any application fee with you?
To be honest, I was just looking at our website. I don't remember. It's not very high if there is. I know that they were we used to not have one, and they were talking about having one because we had so many applications. But I'm sorry, you'd have to. I'd have to ask. I'd have to pass. I have to get a joker, a telephone joker on that one.
Oh, good. I will try to also look it up, and in case I find something, I will post it in chat. For Professor Struck, it's via UniAssist, so it's not by the university. It's by UniAssist, a fee of 75 euros or 30 euros every following application the same semester. Okay, let's continue. There was a question about the support to learn tools from scratch. Are students supported, or do you expect to already be technically fluent? 𝘱𝘢𝘪 mentioned that there is some support, but they are not focused on learning a software in particular. What about?
Could I
Yeah, go
just
ahead.
expand that most of our students come with certain knowledge of a tool. Some come from sound design or film, or even have experience with game design. So most of them have an experience with a type of software. But we're not going to be a school where you're going to learn Unity or you're going to learn certain editing software, but rather how to think about these technologies, these formats, and then see the tools that will work for you. A lot of it is going to be learning tools on the go. So in the production exercises, some students were learning to code, being aided by AI or using Figma to prototype. But also it depends on where you want to go, because we have so much variety on what projects students are doing. So someone is doing right now a project that's immersive theater, and it's using sensors and Touch Designer as a software. So we cannot teach this software to everybody because there's only one student focusing on this, or vice versa. So we do expect students to be very autodidactic in that they have the access to the computers, to the software, and they learn themselves. We also have a technical department. We have there's the Cologne Game Lab, for example, on our building as well, where there's programmers, there's game designers, and we do encourage students to work in teams. So whenever they don't have the skills, they can build a team around their project to support that and work collaboratively. A lot of what we do is to work collaboratively with different disciplines and different knowledge and skills.
Thank you. Professor Struck? The same question for you.
The same question for me again.
Yeah.
Mrs. Aguilar has already said everything that we have. This is exactly the same with us. We don't teach tools per se. We have courses that are a little closer to tools. So one is called Unreal Engine for Storytellers, but we're still going to be working on projects rather than learning the tools and the more general strategies. I think, yeah, the reason I think is the same all over. First of all, it's not on a master's level. You can learn tools much better on the internet if you find a good Udemy course or something like that, because we are investing your time and our efforts into building those long-term strategies that will be useful to you, even if an AI can do all the work that the tool is doing currently. So it's more about long-term strategies. So this for us is the same with this Aguilar.
Thank you so much. Professor Kigley, in case you want to add anything.
It's also very similar. I think for all of us, it's this more about thinking about these tools, and then I think all of us at the same time support technical, if people have questions and need help developing their the projects technically. But I get the feeling that everyone sort of has a similar approach here.
Thank you. The one open question I still see is about the background, which all of you already touched upon. Can applicants with a non-design bachelor succeed, or would you strongly prefer design on an art background? There was a specific slide from Professor Struck saying that you can apply without this background, but you need to prove your experience or strong experience in this. And I guess for all programs, there are background requirements also listed on course pages, what degrees are accepted and what are also exceptions. If there is anything that you want to mention for this question, please feel free to unmute yourself and yeah, answer. Yeah, I guess all of that was already mentioned in presentations, and in case of detailed questions, feel free to check the program pages. Then there was a question about the week. How many days am I in studio versus working on my own project at home? What does a normal week actually look like? I have a very detailed answer from Jimena. Annika got it already. Professor Struck and Professor Keighley, if you want to take this one, please go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we have a program designed to enable students to work, because most of them do. So we have 2 project days, Wednesday for the second semester, Thursday for the first semester, quite specifically, and then you'll usually choose your electives on either Monday, Tuesday, or Friday. But if you can make do pretty well with investing 2 days in presence, and then your teams will meet whenever they need to meet. Most meet in the evenings. Yeah. So I hope that answers the question. But we have like the dedicated days. Yeah.
Yeah, we also have 2 classes where they're taking part, their seminars, 2 days of the week and half day. And then we also have 3 week-long workshop weeks during the first and second semesters. But I think similar to probably other programs, I would say most of the students are working. Yeah, definitely most of the students have part-time jobs at the same time. I think a couple of them actually have full-time jobs. But yeah, I think that's just part of the nature of the situation, that people need to work.
Good. And you can also work as an international student in Germany legally. Part-time is preferred during the semester, or full-time during the semester breaks, vacations. And you will have this also written in your Zusatzblatt that you will receive from the Ausländerbehörde when you are already in Germany. You will know this word from the very first day, believe me. It was also the case with me. Good.